Hello, and welcome to the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. Hello, Dawgpound South campers. I'm your host, Steve Gill. Well, first session of phase 3 of the OTAs completed this week. Got an opportunity to see Deshaun Watson throw the ball a little bit. Yeah, I know. And John talked about this on Thursday at the Fanatical Elves Network. The fans tend to get a little bit over enthused. That's the word I'm going to use. Over enthused about these, about what they see in these videos. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't get, I'm not that guy that gets on Twitter and, as soon as I see Jerry Jeudy make a catch, go, 15,000 yards, 9 TDs, 1,500 yards, 9 TDs. No, I'm not that guy. I'm going to keep it realistic. I know they're in helmets and shorts. I get it. But what gets me excited is you actually have videos of these guys on the field, new helmets. And I'm not a uniform guy, but you got to admit, those white face masks look damn good. All right, let's talk a little bit about the OTAs. I'm not going to get into it too deep because, like I said, it's the first OTA session of phase 3. First of all, and I read a great article this morning from a guy named Brad Ward. He writes for the Orange and Brown Report, which I have been a member for, as far as I can remember, since 99, when they were a different name. But I still, prior to 99, but I still religiously read their stuff. They have good writers, and I'll read anything about the Browns if the writing is good. If it's well written, I love it. But he brought up something I was thinking about, and then he took it to another level, and it makes perfect sense. And let me just tell you what it is. Right now, I said last time I did a podcast, why none of the beat writers had asked about the tackles, Dawand Jones and Jedrick Wills, and especially Jack Conklin. Well, Brad takes this to another level, and I agree 100% with him on everything he said. So Cleveland.com interviewed Dawand Jones, and they asked him how his rehab is doing. And he said he's been rehabbing with Jedrick Wills, and he was one step ahead of Jedrick Wills, and Jedrick Wills was one step ahead of Jack Conklin. Now, if you think about this, and Brad brings this out in his article, think about this. Conklin got hurt game 1, and he had surgery in September of last year. And yet Jones and Wills are ahead of him in rehab, which tells me, and Brad correctly points this out, that Conklin might not be ready for training camp. Now, you would think that the Browns would love to have their starting tackles, Wills and Conklin, because they're making the most money. Wills $14 million, Conklin $13 million. So usually the guys who make the most money start. So, but Brad brings up a point. You can ease Conklin back into the lineup and see how Dawand Jones and Jedrick Wills work together. Now, Wills is in his final year of his contract. We don't know if they're going to re-sign him or not, but why not wait and find out how these two guys work on the same level? And then you can, when the media asks, well, where's Jack Conklin? Well, we're taking Jack a little, we're easing him back into the lineup, which makes perfect sense, which is an Andrew Berry type move. So I expect it, and Brad Ward is exactly right. I mean, you've got your backup right tackle in Dawand Jones, a steal in last year's draft. Get him started. Then you can evaluate how he works with Jedrick Wills And then you can decide if you want to re-sign him or go back in the draft next year and get a left tackle or sign a free agent left tackle. Brilliant. Smart. All right. Also, we talked a little bit about Zadarius Smith. We talk a lot on our Thursday shows about different things, but the one thing I love to hear, and Jarrell, one of our other contributors, always mentions the word foundation, and I love it. I absolutely love that he is putting that word out, because that's an excellent word to put it, a way to put it. Zadarius Smith did a little interview, and I love it. Go find it on social media. He talked about why he wanted to re-sign with the Browns. He talked chemistry. He talked culture. He talked brotherhood. He said he could have gone somewhere else, but he had unfinished business with the Browns. I love that. For a long time, Browns fans like me, when's the last time you actually saw a guy say, hey, I love the culture. I love the chemistry. Unfinished business. I had to come back. Said that. I had to come back. Fantastic. So let's take a quick break here. And for commercials, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about OTAs and some other stuff. All right. So the best thing about OTAs, like I said, is you get the video, you get the social media. I'm not taking anything, just main thing, the videos and stuff. But what I had been hearing from the reporters, and there's, Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore aren't there. Fine. They don't need to be there. Amari Cooper is a veteran. He knows what he needs to do. Elijah Moore, I have heard, is a off-season workhorse. He gets himself ready for the season. So, and Jerry Jeudy being there makes perfect sense. New offense. But I've heard that there's a wide receivers are doing a lot of motion, which is good. And they're also looking for mismatches, i.e. they're looking to be lined up against safeties and linebackers, not your traditional positions to do pass coverage. So I like that too. This shows the difference in the offense, and I wrote about this for Fans First Sports Network, why I think Ken Dorsey should be calling the plays. Go find it, Fans First Sports Network, read it, leave a comment. I am on board with Ken Dorsey being the play caller. So those are my impressions from the first OTA. Anything else I want to talk about? Yeah, I found it interesting on Twitter. It's called NFL Stats. I'm a stat geek. You can tell. I mean, I'm like Cliffy on Cheers. That's me. Things get stuck in my head, and I have to. They stay there. But it's called NFL Stats, and they put out top 5 expensive offenses and cheapest, and expensive defenses and cheapest. And this includes cash paid. I've talked to you about this before. There's a difference between salary cap and upfront cash paid. Usually you have a rich owner who is filthy rich. They will put that money in. It's kind of like writing a personal check to the player when you sign it. So number 1 offense, expensive offense, are the Rams. Number 2, the Browns. Makes perfect sense. $189.7 million in the offense. But there are a few things I found interesting about this. The cheapest offense is the Steelers at 75.2. Yet they have the most expensive defense at $160.1 million. Believe me, it makes perfect sense. They put their money in defense, and they've been proven right. They always have a top 5 defense. It doesn't matter who's playing for them. They know when to get rid of guys when they're over the hill, and they do. So that's smart. The Rams, I told you, had a number one expensive offense, $190.7 million. They have the cheapest defense at $80.2 million. I couldn't find the Browns defense in the top 5. I guarantee you they're in top 10 in most expensive defense, only because of the defensive line. So that I just found that interesting. On Twitter, NFL stats. All right. Anything else? I'm still fully convinced of my way too early 53-man roster. You can find that on Fans First Sports Network. I really think that they're going to go 23 players on offense and 27 players on defense. I think they're going to carry 2 quarterbacks and only 2 tight ends, 6 wide receivers. They're going to load up on defense. I still think they're going to carry 6 defensive tackles, 5 linebackers, 6 corners, 5 safeties. It's just, to me, it's looking that way. So it's a wait and see type thing. So what's next for the Browns? You got OTAs, phase 3 continuing on, what is it, May 28th through the 30th. And that's the last of the OTAs. Then you have the mandatory June 11th through 13th. I'm not worried about players not showing up for the OTAs. They know what they're doing. But you're going to see full rosters on June 11th through the 13th. All right. So I hope everybody enjoyed the show today. And I want to thank everybody for watching, listening, following us here at the Fanatical Elves Network. We're just fanatical Browns fans like you. Except we talk a lot more. Yeah, I know it's annoying. But so thank you for joining me. Everybody have a great Memorial Day. This has been the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. Follow all of us. Listen, watch. We're here for you. So thank you, and everybody, go Browns.